Better. John, go ahead.
Mr. President, multiple sources are telling Fox News today that the United States government now has high confidence that while the coronavirus is a naturally occurring virus, it emanated from a virology lab in Wuhan, that because of lax safety protocols, an intern was infected, who later infected her boyfriend, and then went to the wet market in Wuhan, where it began to spread. Does that correspond with what you have heard from officials?
Well, I don't want to say that, John, but I will tell you more and more we're hearing the story, and we'll see. When you say multiple sources, now there's a case where you can use the word sources, but we are doing a very thorough examination of this horrible situation that happened. Go ahead, please.
In your many conversations with President Xi, Mr. President, did you ever discuss with him State Department concerns about lax safety protocols that had been reported to the State Department from the embassy in Beijing about that laboratory?
I don't want to discuss what I talked to him about the laboratory. I just don't want to discuss it. It's inappropriate.
That, America, was an extraordinary exchange, in my view, the most significant one that has occurred since these briefings and this crisis began. I'm Hugh Hewitt, joined by former Missouri Senator Jim Talent. Senator Talent is an expert on the possibility of biowarfare and biohazard. He and Senator Graham co-chaired the Senate's investigatory group into this. He's run a lot of table talks. Jim Talent, did your jaw drop when you heard that exchange yesterday?
Yeah, in one sense it did. On another sense, the Chinese, as Tom Cotton was telling you, I think yesterday, their lab security is terrible. They flow out all this money into research. They do it through their state-owned enterprises. They do it through the provinces. And they have lousy lab security. It's entirely possible that this was an accidental release from one of their labs. It would not be difficult for me to believe that at all.
It sounded to me like the president gave a confirmation via a non-confirmation by crediting John Roberts' multiple sources, and that therefore this is what the operational conclusion of the White House is. And Senator Cotton tweeted out yesterday that President Xi has to pay for this. What did he mean, and what do you recommend?
Well, I like what my junior senator is proposing, that people should be able to sue various organs and affiliates of the Chinese government. I've thought for a long time that we're underusing the American judicial system and holding China accountable for either its various trade violations or other depredations. I'd love to see them exploring that. Yeah.
Do you know that state-owned enterprises enjoy sovereign immunity? That would have to be the law that would be altered on a state-by-state basis.
Exactly. It would have to be waived. But on the other hand, when these are things that are done effectively by the Chinese government, in this case through its negligence, those are the kinds of things that ought to be explored. I thought that for a long time. China likes to tell the world. I mean, this is a big part of their foreign policy about how their development model is superior to everybody else's, and everybody ought to adopt their system. And I'd like to see them held accountable for what their system's done.
Do you believe that the United States media has focused enough attention on what the CCP of the PRC has done or not done?
No, and for a long time. I mean, they are trying to control narratives around the world. They run influence operations all the time through their United Front Work Department, which is one of the oldest organizations in the Communist Party. They have attachés in virtually every Chinese embassy around the world. And at the very least, the news media should be aware that a whole lot of the stuff they're being fed is coming directly from Beijing. It would be very helpful if they understood that.
The United Front Work Department. Now, I want every Chinese American, every Asian American to know that civil liberties are foremost among our thoughts, and we will defend everybody against any discrimination. But I do believe people have to be aware that the influence operation being run against the United States far outstrips what the Soviets were capable of because the technology is so much better.
Well, and they target people who have contacts. They target ethnic Chinese because they have contacts. When I say target, I mean they coerce them. I mean, they have families and friends in China, so they target them. They're victimized by this as much as anything. So we need to be aware of this and they're trying to control the narrative. And what they're going to try and do here, they're already doing it. Not only going to deny that they're responsible for the virus, they're going to try and blame other people, but in particular the United States, and they shouldn't be allowed to get away with it.
What is the United Front Work Department, Jim Talent?
It's an organization of the Chinese Communist Party. It's controlled at the highest level by organs of the Politburo, and it's responsible for influence operations and trying to control the narrative abroad. Now, there are other organizations that do it too, the People's Liberation Army. I mean, there's a whole lot of different organizations that do this, but the United Front Work Department's the most prominent. I'll send you a report that the China Commission did on it about a year and a half ago. You'll find it very interesting reading.
I will. I hope it's public domain. I hope I can link
yeah,
to it,
absolutely.
and I will do that. Jim Talent, if you put that up at your Twitter account, at Jim
I'll do
Talent, people will follow that because I think they need to know. I have never seen the American media so asleep to this.